Will ChatGPT, Microsoft Copilot, Google Gemini survive the DeepSeek AI? Think about it. AI, well, when ChatGPT started, it was an open source project, and then it became a closed project, or people put money behind it, and now to use it, you have to pay. And then China turns around and says, hold my beer, watch this. A free open source AI system. Like, do you think those three, the big three, are going to be able to stand up against the deep state? I mean, not the deep state, the DeepSeek. Because right now I know if you go to their website, you try to sign up, they're telling you it's taking a long time because already it's being attacked. But this is a good thing, to have a free open source AI that people can utilize for free. Now, I know some of you might hold reservation as to why we should embrace DeepSeek. And I understand privacy concerns. Nobody trusts China or Russia, but, that's politics. Politics aside, though, this is a good thing, right? Now, this is a small startup company that only spent, $5 million to give us this? When ChatGPT and company, they're spending billions of dollars? You guys tell me what you think, right? Because I'm about to react to this video that I just saw. Now I was like, wow. At first I was hesitant to try the DeepSeek, but I'm telling you, it's fast. If you compare it to ChatGPT, you can see it's fast. It's like spitting out the prompt faster than ChatGPT. And I don't know what kind of machines they're running behind it, but as more people embrace it, I would like to see if it's going to slow down, or they're going to add more hardware, and we shall see how privacy and security concerns will come out as to be. Right now we don't know a lot. We know for a fact it's not backed by the China government, but who knows? Nobody knows what the dealings behind the scenes are. So let's react to this video and see if we can educate ourselves on something. Okay? Be right back.
Alright guys, so China has managed to make history once again, and they exposed the underlying rot in the US system. Now this is a story of how China is winning with limited resources, despite the incredible tech sanctions from the US, and how AI tech in the US is just one big money pit. A lot of investment dollars have been thrown in, but the results are a joke compared to what China has accomplished. A 1-year-old startup in China, a side project from a hedge fund, has unveiled DeepSeek. Now this is a direct competitor to OpenAI that developed ChatGPT, but it's even better. It's living proof that China can accomplish a lot with very little. And here's why DeepSeek is a game changer in layman terms.
All of you guys have heard of ChatGPT and OpenAI, right? And you may not know this, but this started out as an open source project, right? And then very quickly, the greedy, money bags people got their hands on it and decided to start charging people for outlandish subscriptions and investing billions of dollars in this. All of that is now gone. In one day, poof, gone. A Chinese company called DeepSeek just came out and released their AI program. Cost them $5.5 million to build. Not $billion, $1 million, right? And they're saying it is now up to 50 times more powerful than ChatGPT. But get this.
I don't know if that's true, but if they say so.
Here's the crux. It's free. They're giving it to the world for free. Open source all the way. It's free. This entirely dismantles ChatGPT and OpenAI and all of the plans of those investors to make billions of dollars off of AI.
So you heard it, the Chinese AI DeepSeek is a fraction of the cost to develop. It's more efficient, it's effective, and more importantly, it's free for everyone to use. And this throws a big spanner into the myth that America is exceptional, especially when they have everything in the world to work with. Why couldn't US tech giants like Microsoft and Google come up with something like that? Just 5 tech companies in the US will spend more than $1 trillion in AI from 2024 to 2027. That's $250 billion a year. But what are they going to get out of it? This is the big question today. And if you're in the markets, it's time to be really careful, especially around US tech stocks. There's a lot of wastage going on, valuations are extremely frothy, and can the tech giants justify their investment dollars? These are the investment dollars thrown at the equation by these hyperscalers. Amazon, Google, Meta, Oracle, and Microsoft. They will burn over $230 billion to chase the AI dream this year. But if they can't find a way to make money from it, relative to the amount of money spent, this tech bubble could collapse like a house of cards. Now, we could be at the start of a Minsky moment. It's when the market suddenly falls down after a long period of speculation, which is exactly what we might face in 2025. Now, in just a day, US tech stocks are poised to lose at least $1 trillion in market
Wow, this is insane. This right here, this amount, I mean,
cap. The Nasdaq is down by 2 to 3%, and even chip makers like ASML in the EU are dropping like flies. Nvidia itself have fallen by at least 10% and will probably collapse by another 5 to 10% more by the time the trading day is out. This might be the black swan event to take down the system. There's a reason why Beijing unveiled this breakthrough just a day after Trump took office. It's a warning to Washington not to mess around. Even if you throw a ton of tariffs and sanctions on us, our industries will prevail. And when we prevail, it just shines a big spotlight on your failures. It's really important we understand how China managed to accomplish this. Listen to Ke Yijing, a leading economist, on why the Chinese model has led to DeepSeek.
We all think about China's models as being extremely centralized, right? That's our impression about China. It's only partially correct. It's political centralization coupled with an extreme form of economic decentralization. But I think that what people have failed to understand is that, or failed to potentially see, is that this is actually going to accelerate China's critical technology development rather than hold it down. I mean, there are many, many historical instances, from the Napoleon blockade to the Germans in the two world wars. Every time you restrict technological exports, and this is also true with Japan, or their blockades, it actually mobilizes the entire nation and pushes them to actually achieve even a greater mobilize the entire country's resources to overcome these restrictions, and we're already seeing that with China.
Once we understand this, it's clear that more breakthroughs are going to come in the months and the years ahead. DeepSeek is just one example of what's to come. It's even more hilarious that this only took $6 million at most and was nothing but a side project of a hedge fund. It wasn't even their main business, unlike US giants, for example OpenAI. The US doesn't have a monopoly on innovation. DeepSeek is powered by a ton of Nvidia chips. Now, estimates put it between 10,000 to 50,000 H100 GPUs. But wait a minute, hasn't Biden placed China under extreme tax sanctions? And if that's the case, how did China conjure up tens of thousands of these chips? Clearly, the physical sanctions on semiconductors just aren't working. Now, the premise is very simple. If we deny China our most advanced chips, this will stop their progress, right? And to execute that, we have to punish.
now, actually, when you restrict someone from doing stuff, or when you don't have capital or the hardware to do something, you become innovative. And if the US is just putting caps on China, of course, they're going to become innovative, given that half the iPhones, or actually all the iPhones and MacBooks or whatever, they're made in China. I bet even Nvidia also has some plant in China. So they've got your blueprints. They just have to make it on their own name. So
Punish the entire world and close off every single loophole. The Biden White House has curbed chip exports globally to prevent countries from building AI technology. China and Russia, of course, they have the most restrictive sanctions on them, Tier 3. But look at Latin America, India, and most of Southeast Asia. These countries are labeled as Tier 2, which means the best chips aren't available to them. Washington is trying to punish the world to prevent them from re-exporting chips to China. Only their closest allies like Australia and the EU, they are in tier 1 category. But yet Nvidia's banned chips still end up in China, and today we have DeepSeek. So the semiconductor curbs are clear failure. It's not working, and no matter the price, China has the pocketbook, the piggy bank, to pay for it. And this is one of Beijing's biggest advantages in the economic war. Now, this article from Wall Street Journal says it all. China has a 1 trillion head start in any tariff fight with the US. Because China is the biggest exporter to the world, they are earning nearly $1 trillion in trade surplus. And this gives them a big piggy bank they can deploy to critical industries. Now, in the past, they have channeled a ton of money to build up their EV sector. Look at it today. The government is now deploying the cash to build up their AI and semiconductor industries. So it's just a matter of time before China bridges the gap. It won't be long before China develops their own AI chips through companies like Huawei. And when that happens, Nvidia would be in a world of trouble.
And then these guys come out with like a crazy model that's like 10x cheaper in API pricing than GPT-4o and 15x cheaper than Sonnet, I believe. Really fast, 16 tokens per second, 60 tokens per second, and pretty much equal or better in some benchmarks and worse in some others, but like roughly in that ballpark of 4O's quality. And they did it all with like 20 to 30x lower than the amount of GPUs that GPT-4 is usually trained on. They did roughly $5 million in total compute budget. They did it with so little money and such an amazing model, gave it away for free, wrote a technical paper, and definitely it makes us all question like, okay, like if we have the equivalent of Doge for like model training, this is an example of that.
It's important we understand this. The open source strategy is the icing on the cake. They basically told the world, we will teach you how to make these AI models. We'll give you the code, we'll give you the outputs, so you can build on top of that however you want. Which means the value of OpenAI's model has plummeted. Overnight, it is less valuable. And once DeepSeek gains a huge community of users in their ecosystem, they will start monetizing it. And when that day comes, the earnings will blow US tech companies out of the water. So what are the implications for US tech stocks? Well, it isn't good at all. And let's realize how overvalued US companies are, especially AI technology companies. Now this is a chart of the S&P 500 and AI firms. Despite the index rising by 52% in 2 years, AI stocks have risen by 80%. That is unprecedented. Thanks to the hype train, investors poured $15 trillion into the Nasdaq 100. So the rally we are seeing in technology is very extended. And we know the saying, the higher you climb, the greater the fall if something goes wrong. This is where the trade war comes into play. China is making DeepSeek available to everyone, even Americans. So even US companies can benefit from this. In the AI value chain, DeepSeek is especially valuable for developers and integrators. And these are companies like Meta and Google. They can benefit from DeepSeek to power their business model. But if the US decides to block Chinese tech like what they did with TikTok, these companies will be in trouble. Local Chinese firms will innovate faster than US tech companies at a fraction of the cost. Second, hyperscalers might be in trouble. Have they invested too much money to generate too little a return? Are trillions of dollars even needed? And that fear alone could collapse earnings because expenses are just so high. Now, before DeepSeek, the AI narrative was playing out nicely. Now, take Nvidia for example. Their earnings were rising rapidly because the world decided they needed a ton of high-tech chips to build AI, and that justified the crazy stock price increase. But there's now a big problem, right? DeepSeek, they built their own AI solution with 30 times less GPU. That means you probably don't need so many chips. Earnings are gonna collapse. And if companies manage to figure that out, demand for Nvidia's products could fall. In other words, earnings would get clobbered. Now, I'm not saying it will go to zero, but just a modest reduction could see this overvalued stock crash down to earth. So if you onboard the AI hype train, it's time to be extra careful here. China could be just the black swan event coming for the US economy. And here's what we mean. In 2024, 34% of the entire S&P market cap came from the Magnificent Seven, which includes Nvidia. If investors decide that US tech companies are overvalued, the bull market for everyone is effectively over. A price collapse in US tech would take down the entire stock market as we know it. There's a reason why US stocks have been on a tear for the last 3 decades. It's because investors believe the US economy is special and their innovation is exceptional. However, DeepSeek is beginning to make people question this. It's supremely important to understand this. The stock market is highly volatile, and a lot of it is based on sentiment plus perception. And if that breaks, we could see a big repricing event. And that's a fancy way of saying the collapse would be big. Now, this chart from Bank of America is amazing. It tells us how overpriced US stocks are compared to the rest of the world. It is at least 2 to 3 times more expensive. The overvaluation is crazy. It's more than double the dot-com bubble in the late 1990s, and the cracks are starting to show. Now, I'm not saying that DeepSeek will crash the US economy or stock market tomorrow, but this could be the genesis of something big coming down the road. If a team with just $6 million can produce this, imagine what could come with more money and time.
Man, that is just crazy to think about, man. $6 million, and they give a competitor to OpenAI and Copilot and Gemini.
So hang tight, guys. This is going to be messy. It's going to be a wild ride. But let me know what you think. Is China's DeepSeek a game changer? Or are US tech companies still in pole position? Stay safe. Be sure to smash the like button.
Now, just thinking about this, man, I wonder what the response from Silicon Valley is gonna be. Are they gonna try to outcompete DeepSeek, or are they gonna maintain what they currently have? Y'all let me know down in the comments, because this right here, I mean, when I first got wind of DeepSeek, I couldn't even register because it was just it had this banner saying, "Hey, due to attack on our sites, we're not able to onboard new users." But once I finally got in and I tried a few prompts, I mean, it was just spitting it fast, and I hurried and tried ChatGPT, and I was like, ChatGPT is a little slower than DeepSeek, but I can see for an open source project, and right now everybody's just jumping on it, right? So it's gonna learn from what prompt it's been given. So I can only imagine within time DeepSeek is gonna be huge. But I just want to see what the response will be from the tech giants in the US. Anyways, guys, I thought, I'll break this news to you so you're aware of what's going on. Don't forget to like, share, and submit that subscribe button. Hit that subscribe button, man. Let's get to 1,000. It's been 5 years, y'all. I'm tired of waiting. Just kidding. Don't forget to subscribe. Peace.